Okay, good.
Hi, welcome back to Hooke Court, and as you can see, our newly constructed bread oven is still standing and still in one piece. The wooden framework that we've built inside has burned away. I can feel quite a considerable heat still holding inside the actual oven itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to scrape away the last of the ash and the embers. And I've got a makeshift brush here that I'm just going to sweep as much as I can to the side. Yes. And in order to put our bread in, and this is the bread that Alan made earlier on, that's proved and it's risen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the bread onto some of these tiles. Oh, it's quite hot in here. Just going to place a series of these in on the bottom. Then I'm going to put them back in. And then take the bread, carefully place the bread onto our tiles, push the tiles back in. And I'll tell you, I know you can't feel that, but I can certainly tell you that inside there it's very, very warm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that, and just very quickly I'm going to show you some of the tasks that we had to do yesterday in terms of splitting some of the larger pieces of wood that we used this morning to dry out and to heat up the bread oven, and also just some of the techniques that we think the Celts would have had to have employed in order to split some of the larger pieces of wood in order to use those pieces of wood as for construction, and also for some of the comforts that we need here, so things to sit on. So just going to cut away now to that to the video that we did yesterday. So see you in a second.
Hi. Now, one of the things that we have been working with the children that have been staying with us today here at Hooke Court is on how to try and split some larger pieces of wood that we have got in order to try to utilise pieces of wood for all sorts of different things here to make our life just a little bit more comfortable. So we've got some sections of wood, and what we've tried to get the children to do is to use some really simple technology. So using these little wooden wedges and these beaters, these mallets that have just been fashioned out of pieces of solid hardwood. And all we're actually trying to do is to use a split, use a small crack or a fault within the wood itself, and then open up those cracks, those weaknesses, using a series of wedges in order to try and split down the grain of the wood. Now, our experience today has shown us that different types of wood have been easier to split than other types of wood. And so I've got 3 different samples of wood here that we've been using today. So the first piece of wood that I've got here is some willow. So if you come with me, straight away you can see that this piece of willow has already got 5 of these wedges in it. And these wedges, because the wood is so springy, and of course we know today, and the Celts weren't able to know this, that one of the inherent things about willow is that it stays, even when it's seasoned, it stays very springy, hence our use of the willow for cricket bats. And so what we've got is a series of large wedges that, even at this stage, are bouncing in and out of the wood, even though we've managed to split it almost down its entire length. And fingers crossed.
See that it is a bit of a labour of love in order to try to split these wide open. we've got one here that we did earlier.
You can see that there is a lovely straight grain, and of course this piece of wood now would be the sort of thing that we could use to make our seating more comfortable. We were able to split longer sections of wood. We could have used them in buildings that we've got here, but essentially the technology is fairly basic, and it is quite tough with a springy wood like willow. What I've got here is a piece of beech. Now the beech again is very hard wood, but it's not as springy as the willow that we were trying to split just now. And so once the crack has opened up, you can, using a series of wedges, break that crack right open. Now, although this is a fairly bendy piece of wood, it does prove that this wood, because maybe it's harder, the grain is no better, I don't think, but it definitely splits more easily, although it is very hard. And the last type of wood that I've got here, I've stood on the end, and this is a piece of ash. And this ash, again, is quite hard, but doesn't seem to want to split very easily, even though we've got a fairly clear line of weakness that runs down the centre. And so give it another beat. You can see that it's not been particularly successful, although it is a very strong, very hard wood. So in my experience today, the best piece of wood for splitting has been the beech.
Furry. And so here we are now at our enclosure. We've been working very hard with this because we have some baby lambs that we're wanting to put in. And we've had a lot of help from visiting schools. We've had schools from Button Bradstock, Thorner Primary School have been in, and schools who are currently on site on other activities have come down for a short time to help us, notably William Cobbett and also Monk's Orchard School. All the children have mucked in, given us just a few minutes to raise the level. And I think now that we're finished, we're delighted we finished just in time to get our orphan lambs in and safe from the wild animals. And in fact, Alan's bringing them over in just a few minutes' time. So I'm hoping that he'll be bringing them in time for you to see. In fact, I can see him now. Yep, he's on his way over. We're going to gate them with little enclosures here. So I'm going to put the first one in place before he arrives, so that he can step over with the lambs, and that will prevent them getting out, I hope. If not, it could be a "you've been framed" moment. Hi, Alan. Just finished. And so what I've done is I've put the first one in. Hi, Sarah. Wow. Brilliant. Well done.
So first time on grass, Richard.
Yep. And
it's thanks to the guys who've made this pen. It's really good that the sheep can actually go there.
yeah, I've mentioned all the schools who've helped because we've had quite a bit of help doing it.
Your pen did. Well, it's great that we've had so many calls too. We're so grateful to all of you, and we're delighted too. We've had a call all the way from Richmond, Virginia, the US. Thank you very much indeed to Richmond and Joe and to Willow. Thank you for telling us that. Telling us that you've been watching what we've been doing down here at Hooke Court, and also to ask the question: what did vegetarian Celts eat? Well, we've no idea. Obviously, most of what we've eaten has been vegetable foods, not meat at all. We've seen the venison that Chris and Richard butchered, but we've had pottage, and tonight we'll be having beans with caraway seed. So we'll tell you tomorrow how it tastes that. I love the episode. Thank you very much indeed, Richmond, Virginia. Thank you.
And Hillview. So a big thank you to Callum because he's provided some ideas for us on how to improve our sartorial elegance and get a bit of colour into our lives.
Like red.
Like reds.
How do you make red, Richard?
Well, he suggested we use madder.
Right.
And in order to get our blue, obviously we already know that we can use woad.
Yep.
And then that we can have yellow as well with something called weald.
I don't know what weald is, and I'm looking forward to finding out because it's really good. I understand it's a good yellow dye. What about your hands? This morning we asked the key question.
They look much
look at his
better.
hands. He's been dyeing actually, and that's onion. That's onions, isn't it, Richard?
This is the dye from the onion skin. Later on, we'll show you the finished product. But certainly, of all of the dyes that I've tried so far, that's been the one that's been most successful. So successful, in fact, that it's turned my hands yellow.
And you've got little streaks down your cheeks from the tears.
Oh,
so that could well be sweat and tears. But also, I'd like to thank the suggestions of how my hands might be improved a little in terms of my the cuts that seem to have a little bit of an infection in them. I'm supposed to get some pig's fat,
right,
and use salted water as a leaf in order to clean them up, and then dress them with a bit of pig's fat. Now, at the moment, we haven't been able to manage to get any wild boar, which would be the only place I can imagine that we as a Celt would be able to get our pig's fat from. But I do have an idea where I might be able to get some. So I'm quite happy to give that a go.
Yeah.
In order to try to improve the.
And the other suggestion was that you could take some salt water to clean out any possible infection first, wipe it with a leaf, like a dock leaf or something of that kind, to just get rid of anything around the edges that may cause further infection.
The trouble is, as fast as one seems to be healing up, I get another graze or another cut or another injury in my hand. And that's because I spent far too long in the office. Which was the case.
Resources for schools are content, and have we solved all the problems? Well, we're going to talk to you tomorrow and evaluate the 2 or 3 days that we've been living as Celts and tell you how I think it's fun. But these are sort of issues that we've come across. All our hands are quite bad. We've suffered from that. We've suffered from lack of sleep, especially as the turkey near the background. You're making a lot of noise for us.
We should be more over 2,000 years.
No, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, Chris. Is that right?
I think that would be a good challenge. Another night, maybe a better night's sleep.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a bit of pig fat on my hands tonight. Could he also go for a little bit of that soap that I tried yesterday?
Yeah.
And I think that soap might actually just, the way that I used it, just the cold lard mixed in with a bit of wood ash. It's probably going to make my hands feel a little hot. But I know this afternoon you're going to have a go at making some foaming soap.
Some foaming soap, yeah.
And maybe we could use that to get the guy.
Well, we look forward actually, Chris, to seeing how well the bread is cooked in your new oven.
Well, I'm hoping.
And we'll look to see a cleaner you and a cleaner Richard. With
I certainly smell it.
When are we doing it tomorrow, Chris?
We'll be back again tomorrow with a live broadcast at 10:15, and then again at 2 o'clock. And of course, the ways that you can get in contact with us are facebook.com/Hooke Court, or on Twitter, #HookCourt, or you go to the YouTube webpage, and you look for us there on the Hooke Court YouTube page.
Well, we found out a huge amount about Celts, and we hope you've been there. We're very grateful to all of you for all your suggestions. We've got one more day now to get some suggestions into us. So we'll look forward to talking to you again tomorrow and telling you more about what happened overnight on our last day living as Celts here at the Hooke Court. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.